The U.S. is tracking a big drop in tourism from around the world. Take a look at this. Travel from Canada and Mexico was down double digits in March. We're also seeing fewer visitors from Western Europe, Central and South Asia, South America, I should say.
Stunning images of near-empty passenger planes are popping up on social media. These international flights have many tourists flying to the USA practically alone. Shauna Massengill flew from London to Chicago. Look, barely anyone on board.
There was nobody there. There was nobody in my row. It was really shocking. I've never been on a flight like that.
Something strange is happening in 2025. For decades, the United States stood tall as the dream destination, the land of skyscrapers, movie stars, and bucket list vacations. But this year, that dream is cracking. Global tourism is changing fast, and for the first time in a generation, the U.S. isn't on the winning side. In the past, travelers came not just for the views, but for what America represented: freedom, innovation, opportunity. But now, concerned, people are second-guessing. They're skipping the Statue of Liberty, avoiding Times Square, choosing other destinations, not because of distance or price, but because something deeper is shifting. In country after country, we're seeing the same pattern: hesitation. Not loud, not dramatic, but steady and growing. Business travel is stalling. Student exchanges are declining. Entire airline routes are quietly disappearing, and the data doesn't lie.
It turns out foreign visitors are shunning the United States. We're seeing an increasing number of international travelers choose to go elsewhere. Fresh research from Oxford Economics estimates that the U.S. is going to see an $8.5 billion drop-off in spending from foreign visitors this year. And some estimates are even more staggering. You've got the World Travel and Tourism Organization estimating a $12.5 billion drop-off in spending this year. And we're already seeing it show up in the numbers. When you look at flight bookings to the United States between May and July, they're off more than 10%.
But foreign tourists are increasingly setting their sights elsewhere. Let's take a look at international tourism by the numbers. Following tariff announcements against our neighbor to the north, flight reservations from Canada to the U.S. are down 70% through September compared to last year. That's according to OAG Aviation Worldwide. Plus, U.S. summer bookings by European tourists have fallen by 25%.
Gee, I wonder why. I feel like pretty much we're like that one crazy neighbor on the street, and then everyone else on that street does not like us. Yeah, that's the orange guy in the office. It's like, you know, when you jokingly threaten to take over other countries, such as Canada and Greenland, and then also the Panama Canal, people are not going to take it lightly. Also, when you decide to try to tariff everyone, people are not going to be happy about that. And with tourism pretty much taking a hit in this country, the entire hospitality industry is going to feel it. Along with the potential of that 245% tariff on China, that hospitality industry is going to take a hit, because I'm pretty sure a lot of stuff that they use in the hotels and in the casinos and like pretty much anywhere, a lot of it probably comes from China. So those independently owned hotels, restaurants, and anything else that involves tourism are probably going to suffer the most. And in the large corporations, the employees are probably going to be the ones that feel it, because they'd probably get laid off, while the executives at those huge chains will probably still get their bonuses. And unemployment will probably go up because of this as well. You see how everything kind of causes a ripple effect? But comment and let me know what you think about this.
Guys, for the longest, I've always said that, of course, the moment Donald Trump enforced his policies, it was just game over for the hospitality industry. And now, I'm seeing quite some changes. Of course, the other lady has mentioned a 12% decrease right now. What I knew is that as of March this year, it was like a 14% drop. It seems like things are changing. It's like a 2% drop increase or something like that. I think in the long run, things are gonna get back to normal. But in the meantime, the hospitality industry is having it rough. This all stems from the policies and of course the immigration thing. Also, some can be attributed to the US dollars, but we'll come to that later. Hello guys, my name is Daniel. I'm going to be your host today. Make sure you subscribe. For returning subscribers, thank you so much for your likes, your subscription, and your comments, which has really helped me have a different view of your thoughts and helped the channel propel forwards. So in today's video, we're gonna talk about how tourism is rapidly declining in the US and how it is affecting the hospitality industry, and also we're gonna narrow down to the state of Las Vegas. Before I even make my discussion on this topic, I want to invite you to listen to some of the US netizens' opinions. Let's go.
America's tourism crisis nobody's talking about. Foreign visitors are abandoning the US in record numbers, and it's costing billions. Oxford Economics predicts an $8.5 billion drop in international visitor spending this year. while the World Travel and Tourism Organization estimates an even more alarming $12.5 billion loss. The proof? Flight bookings to the U.S. between May and July have already plummeted by over 10%. This isn't just a blip, it's a trend with massive economic consequences. While other destinations flourish, America is losing its appeal to global travelers. What's driving this exodus? And can the U.S. tourism industry recover before it's too late?
Vegas is losing tourism. I've been hearing about this everywhere, seeing this on my FYP, and I'm like, what are they talking about? I live here. The strip is literally right here. I can see it through my bedroom window. And I'm like, there's always people here. What do you mean tourism is down? But you know how I can confirm this? I just heard back from a huge job opportunity telling me that the job has been put on hold indefinitely because specifically lack of tourism. Like, I'm so grateful they gave me such a specific reason, and it's just crazy to me. Jobs are being cut, and it's true what the locals have been saying on my FYP here, that tourism is just done, and it's primarily because of like increased prices. I mean, I did just go to Tal Day Beach Club thing to see Zed. The drinks were $50 each. I don't know if that's a normal thing. Always has been, I don't know, but $50 drinks, that's wild. That was like the cheapest one. Resort fees, hidden fees, just fees everywhere, and things being marked up. I guess that's why, but pretty bummed out. It was a job I was really looking forward to. I was actually one of the top candidates, so they're keeping me in mind if the job comes back. But now I'm like, how do I feel comfortable even taking the job now if the second things go down with tourism, you're cutting you're cutting off people? Like, where's the security in that? So now I'm just like stressed all around. We'll see.
If you watch any videos right now, and there's a lot of people that do content like this, I love Vegas, I go there frequently, so I see them all the time in my, algorithm. They will show you videos of the strip being empty. These massive, Las Vegas casino resorts that are typically teeming with life on a Friday night, they're not even at a quarter of capacity. There's nobody there. And yes, that is a city that absolutely depends on those foreign tourists. Down in Orlando, Universal Studios just opened up a new park, Epic Universe. Grand opening, right? May 22nd. I check my app because I go to the parks frequently as well. And the wait times at this new park, with the exception of one Harry Potter ride, because you still have those Harry Potter grown-ups, 15 minutes. For a brand new theme park in the theme park capital of the world, 15 minutes for a brand new ride that you guys have been hyping for over a year? There's videos I saw yesterday of the park empty on a holiday. There's no crowds, there's no lines at almost everything again, except for the one Harry Potter ride. It's crazy.
Okay, guys, all these extra fees and the overpriced food and Vegas nickel and diming everyone finally might be hurting Vegas. So, listen to this. New tourism numbers paint a very dark picture. So it might be time for Sin City to take a hard look in the mirror, I'm reading. A late March report from Harry Reid International Airport, the airport here in Vegas, shows that the main hub tourists travel through showed international visitors dropped a staggering 19.6% from January to February. Domestic travelers were down 6.9% during the same time span, and a total of 4 million passengers came to the airport in February, according to the same report. That's a 7.5% decline from February of last year. The horrible numbers don't stop there. Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority reported that visitors were down almost 12% from the same time a year ago in February of 24. So the bottom line is Vegas' greed is catching up to them. Bottom line. Get rid of resort fees, get rid of these overpriced restaurants, get rid of charging for parking, because you can go anywheres now. Vegas used to be a cheap place, nice place to vacation, and now you can, why not just go to Cancun and stay at an all-inclusive resort? Why come here? You know what I mean? So, what do you guys think about that?
All right, so I think I uncovered a pretty big scandal. Las Vegas is definitely in the find out phase of a significant drop in tourism and tariffs, obviously. I posted a video about this that got a lot of attention and a lot of criticism, people saying it wasn't true. And a lot of local Las Vegas quote unquote influencers were going around really challenging the narrative. Oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Well, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority just released their budget and it's bad. This is the tourism board for Las Vegas, and it is funded by room tax revenue. So in other words, rooms are taxed, they get their money for their operations. Their job is to like promote Las Vegas. And their budget for next year is pretty bad. They're expecting a 5% decline in room tax revenue, which is huge. But they also acknowledged in reporting yesterday a 5.9% decline in tourism from Canada, a 2.8% decline in tourism from Mexico, and a significant drop in tourism domestically. Now remember, this is the agency that is funded by room tax revenue. It's going to be so bad that they are going to literally spend into their budget. They're going to deficit spend, like spending on a credit card, $51 million of deficit spending. That is because less people will be spending money in Las Vegas and generating tax revenue, but also because they are so concerned about tourism that they're going to spend an additional $37 million on advertisement, which incidentally, I think is a bad strategy. So the data is all there, but that's not the scandal. The scandal is the newspaper that first reported this yesterday, the Las Vegas Sun, clearly had some kind of incident or pressure, clearly wanted to change the narrative. And here's why we know this. The initial headline for this was LVCVA to tap rainy day fund as tourism dips. That's a shocking headline, and it got a lot of attention yesterday. But for some reason, they changed the title of the story to Tourism Board Plans for Marketing Spending Boost. That's a big change. That's a huge change. The Las Vegas Review Journal also reported on this, but they were so rosy in their reporting that I'm not even going to cover it. They covered it with the headline, LVCVA board gets first look at $460 million budget, expects dip in tax revenue. So they won't even just say, we're going to get less tourists. They're saying we're going to get less tax revenue. That's a scandal. But the Sun specifically changed the headline from the printed newspaper to what's on the internet today. And that is a scandal. First of all, it's not acknowledged anywhere on their site that they changed that headline. And you should editorially have acknowledged that. But the second question is, why? Why change the headline? Why change the headline? Yeah, I'm calling from a local TikTok channel here, The Unraveling, on a recorded line. We're calling about this story yesterday, which was the tourism story about LVCVA. So we're just calling because the title of that story was changed from...
So I just spoke with the reporter and the change has been made online.
Okay, so the change was made.
Yes.
Okay. So I also talked to the reporter who actually wrote the story, and he told me essentially that he used that term colloquially, and there's a difference between deficit spending, which we talked about, and rainy day and the rainy day fund. But the fact of the matter is LVCVA is deficit spending. It is. And that's a big deal. And changing the headline without acknowledging the headline change from the printed version of the paper, I think something else is at play. And I think it tells us a story that we've already known about Las Vegas, which is local elected leaders and people like the media in Las Vegas simply are not willing to tell the truth. In this specific situation, a dramatic drop in tourism as the result of tariffs and fear to travel to the United States, combined with what have been years of essentially price gouging by casino executives, is putting us in a precarious financial situation. That's the headline. That's the headline. But we can't even change and report on basic fact anymore in Las Vegas. And when we do, whether that was pressure, whether that was someone got a phone call, they literally changed the headline of a story about how bad it's about to get to make it look like it wasn't going to be that bad. And that, from a newspaper in America, is a scam.
It seems like government authorities all over the world are just allergic to the truth. They always want to influence those who are trying to speak the truth, to always favor their narratives or to come up with bogus stories that they want people to believe in. And of course, this is the digital era. Now, look at the headline that these people gave previously. Even if they change, there must be someone who has recorded that. Or, of course, anything posted online doesn't miss a footprint. That footprint can come out costly. It actually waters down the credibility of the source. But props up to that reporter for picking up the phone and answering why he changed it. Regardless of that, the main theme is that the state of Las Vegas is going to deficit spend, as the guy said. Tourism sector has been one of those resilient sectors of the economy, but this time round it seems like it's taking a huge hit. We're going to associate that with, of course, declined international travel. This stems from declined visits from Canada and Mexico, who are US direct visitors, and of course they're the ones who have the largest visiting population, and they do it frequently because, you know, they're close neighbors. Bad relationship between neighbors can be costly. Of course, if one nation is in need of the other and they no longer have good relations, then it's gonna take a significant hit, especially to those citizens that really do depend on these visits. Another thing is that there is a declining gaming revenue. Of course, this also stems from tourism. Of course, if people are not coming to play, or if people are not coming to gamble, of course, you know what Las Vegas is in Nevada. It's one of those gambling cities in the world, and if people are not visiting, then of course the gaming sector is not receiving revenue as before. And another thing is also, when no one is visiting, then the cash flow for big hotels is definitely falling, and if it's falling, it's gonna impact hugely some sectors, like, let's say, food sector, the employment sector. It causes a ripple effect, as these guys have said, and owing to that, there have been reports of people getting laid off because these companies are no longer meeting their targets or no longer receiving the revenue they did before. There has been a significant decline in revenue collected, and this therefore means that they no longer are able to cater for the wages of servants, especially those that do jobs that are easily expendable. And it's really sad that people are getting laid off because of very own Donald Trump, who made this whole mess and also introduced this tariffs thing. These tariffs are just gonna hurt the US citizens, them themselves, and not the people from other countries. Now, this means that Las Vegas has to pull itself from this dirt, and doing that, it means they have to advertise big. Advertising big means big spending, and that means getting money out of their pockets. Just as the article reported, even though they pulled that headline, it's true. They're gonna have to dip their hands into their pockets in order to advertise, to attract the young population. The older population will also come back and visit Las Vegas to spend the money in casinos, in parks, in gaming. These all things that happen in Las Vegas, to party, all those things. They are gonna have to do it heavily on advertising. And of course, advertising is something that has three outcomes: either a loss, a break even, or profits proceeding from income generated. So it's more or less speculative. People still have fear of visiting the United States, especially people from Mexico. They feel like, if I go to the US, who knows, I might get deported. Away from Vegas, you guys have seen how the Club World Cup thing has turned out to be. FIFA is really finding it hard to sell tickets because people are fearing to attend these FIFA Club World Cup games. Even though this week Donald Trump came about and said that he's gonna tone down on the deportation or the ICE raids, I think he was doing this because of the FIFA Club World Cup, but it is evident that the people are not attending. Ticket prices have reduced significantly from over $200 to around $3, $4, and still people are not coming in. The game between Inter Miami and Al Ahly of Egypt, you'd expect, because Messi is playing and his entourage being the opening game, people would really fill the stadium. Cameras were only focusing on the stands that people are feeling, but if you see the higher stands there, oh my god, it was really empty. This is not common for a huge event like that. And it means then that international travel or the tourism sector in the United States is really being hit. Tourism sector, employment, these two things really depend on each other. For me, I really do think that it's gonna take some time. Maybe this year is gonna be bad, but I think by next year changes are gonna be made and it's gonna work for the good of the country. This all depends with if the policies are gonna change on immigration. Anyways guys, I really want opinions from you guys, so make sure you do comment in the comment section down there below. What do you think about this whole issue? Don't forget to check the original creators. Their usernames have been embedded in the Stitch videos as always. Go follow, like on their TikToks. For this channel, make sure you subscribe, hit the massive thumbs up and turn on post notifications so that you may not miss my next video. Let me meet you in the next upload. Peace out.